Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today I wanted to share something that I think I've mentioned, but I haven't really talked about that much, is being the oldest child, with autism. It's sometimes, and it can be hard, to be the oldest child with autism sometimes, and that kind of thing, because I have only younger siblings. All of my siblings are younger than me, and I am the oldest child in my family and also the oldest grandchild as well. I'm the oldest of both my siblings and cousins from both sides of the family. So, yeah. And I may have also mentioned that I am the only one with autism in the family. Like, I am the oldest, yet the only one with autism. And sometimes, that kind of makes me feel left out from my other siblings and kind of things. But I know I love my siblings, and I they don't really, I don't think they really care that I have autism. I think they probably forget about it just as much as I do, because the autism is so mild that a lot of the times it just slips from my mind and I forget all about it. And they probably forget about it too. But we all love each other and everything, so, and we get along quite well. So, that's really all that matters, I guess. Sometimes it can be tough, though, being the oldest child with autism, because sometimes, when my brothers were younger, I used to have to, I used to have to stay home with them and stuff. Like when my mom or dad and sister maybe were gone, like if all three of them, I guess, were gone, like I would have to, or just maybe my mom and dad. But me and my sister would both help with our brothers. But if my sister was also not there too, along with my parents, and they went somewhere, and my brothers got left here, usually I would be the one looking after them. And although everything went usually pretty good looking after them and stuff, like no problems, no problems usually. We just, you know, everything was fine. But still, sometimes I feel like I didn't want to watch them. Like I just kind of felt like I wanted to do my own kind of thing and not really, but I knew that I had to watch my brothers because I knew I couldn't leave them alone. But still, it was an annoying thing because I wanted to, kind of do my own thing, and have my own kind of me time, I guess. And, it's kind of when you get stuck watching them, kind of a thing. Now, this happened when they were much younger. They're older now. So my one brother is 16 and the youngest one's 13. And, they don't need me to watch them anymore because I think they're old enough where they can stay home, or where they can kind of do stuff themselves, and everything, that I don't need to look after them really. Like they know what to do. They're older now, and if emergency, they know what to do. So, I did the same thing when I was 13 and 16 years old. I would stay at home by myself. I don't remember what age you can stay home by yourself at, but I did, I did it a lot when I was 13 and 16. So, and of course, just like them, I knew what to do. I knew who to call in case of an emergency and everything. So, but still, sometimes it could be tough having the responsibility to look after them when they were younger and that kind of things, because, kids who are much younger, need more help with certain things, and they can't do certain things on their own yet. And, sometimes I feel like I would have trouble, helping them and figuring out what to do and that kind of stuff. Like, Now, I have made them like lunch and stuff, so I knew what to do there. Like, I've made them lunch. I know how to make them. Yeah, that was especially the annoying part back in those days where I would have to make them their lunches because they couldn't do it themselves. But, you know, it's kind of a relief nowadays that they can make their own lunches and stuff. And I don't have to worry about making them lunches anymore like I did when they were younger. But that's one thing I had to do was make their lunches and get them a snack or something. And sometimes I didn't mind, making them lunches or getting them a snack, but still, like I said, it was just not most ideal for me. I mean, of course I'm going to feed them. That's what I'm supposed to do, I'm in charge of them. But still, and when they're like fighting and stuff, or I don't know if I've dealt with them fighting, but even if I have, I'm pretty sure I've dealt with them fighting before, but yeah, they used to fight a lot when they were younger, and sometimes I would have a hard time trying to break up the fights, and like I wouldn't know really what to do with breaking up the fights and stuff and all that. Another thing that was kind of, I don't know what I want to say, odd for me, or not really odd, but just didn't feel right for me was, being the oldest child and yet being behind than my younger sister in school. Now, I may or may not have told you this in my school life video that when I went back to Brightmont, or not back to, when I started going to Brightmont Academy, that I had to start over at ninth grade because I had not apparently finished 10th or 11th, or haven't had the credits for 10th or 11th grade. So I had to start all over again at grade 9. And I was 17 years old when this happened. And it made me feel kind of like it just didn't feel right because, my sister, who's a couple years younger than me, was already, I think, a grade ahead of me. And, she actually ended up graduating high school just before I did. And yeah, that's something about that, I just felt like, I should be the one that's ahead, that's a couple grades ahead of her, because I'm a couple years older. But it just didn't happen that way. Because, like I said, had to start all over again at ninth grade when I started going to Brightmont. And, we weren't complaining about that, but I was like, whatever, we got to do what we got to do. So I ended up starting over again at ninth grade, and then being a grade behind my younger sister. Now, I used to not think much of it. I thought it was a little weird and that kind of stuff, especially like thinking of all those people that I went to elementary school with and stuff, and like they were already off in college and stuff, and I was still finishing high school. And it just kind of made me feel kind of like it just felt wrong. It just didn't feel right. It just felt like I know I probably should have been up there too, with them, and being in college and stuff, or maybe not necessarily college, but being done with high school, that's for sure. And I was like, I am still in high school. And I was 20 years old when I had finally finished high school. And, after that, though, it was kind of a relief, just to be done with high school and stuff. And, it didn't make me feel so bad anymore that I was a grade behind my sister. But yeah, that's something definitely that It just, like I said, it didn't feel right. Like it just felt wrong. I'm a couple years older than her, and yet she's a grade ahead of me, and then that's kind of a thing. Like, how did I fall behind? Well, because I guess during homeschool I didn't really get 10th or 11th grade credits, and that's hard to explain. But what's important is I did end up finishing high school, and I'm happy about that. And sometimes too, I feel like I'm not as smart as my other siblings, or don't know things that my other siblings do know. And sometimes that can make me feel like an outcast. And again, that feels kind of wrong because, they're all younger than me and I'm the oldest one. And it just makes me feel kind of like I'm, falling behind and learning stuff in my life kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, even for the things, life skills and stuff, that is something I'm also going to learn at my own pace, because I may struggle with some things and I may be better at others. So I'm going to learn those things at my own pace. And I guess it really doesn't matter if I'm behind anybody or not, is that it's just I'm learning them at my own pace. And, that's what we need to do. So that's, I guess, not a bad thing. Another thing that's also awkward for me too is when I feel like I have to be corrected by my younger siblings, like maybe my sister or my brothers, or because I feel like I feel like sometimes it should be the other way around, since I'm older than them and they're younger than me. But, sometimes I feel like I don't do something right, and I need to be corrected about that. And I know they're just trying to help, but still, that can definitely be an awkward thing sometimes, being the oldest kid and yet still needing, you know, correction by somebody younger than me, kind of a thing. So, yeah, those are the challenges sometimes of being, the oldest child with autism. And, like I said, I forget I'm autistic a majority of the time, like half the time, it just slips my mind. And then I remember, like, oh yeah, I'm autistic. That's right. Kind of a thing. I think that's how mild my autism is. Like, so, but still, it can be tough being the oldest one with autism, because I feel like, a lot of other oldest ones in families, they have accomplished a lot more than I've accomplished now, kind of a thing. Like, I've just feel like even my younger siblings sometimes have accomplished more than me. And sometimes it just gets to be, kind of not really, it just gets to be kind of awkward, and just kind of like, it makes me feel kind of silly, like I'm the oldest one, and, I'm kind of behind. But I guess what matters is that I learn it one way or another, and I do it at my own pace, kind of a thing. And, it can still be a little bit of a struggle for me, because when my dad goes to work and my brothers are at school, I usually help hold down the fort while he's gone. And as I've mentioned before, and, sometimes it can be tough, with the dogs and everything. I mean, it's not too bad. It's not too bad though, because, Duke, he just sleeps a lot because he's older, and, Bandit and Baxter definitely need more attention than him. But, sometimes it can be overwhelming for me, because I trying to figure out what Bandit and Baxter want, because, they're only 2 years old and they still, I guess are puppies, I guess if you can say. It can be hard to figure out what they want, and when they go outside, sometimes they don't do their thing, and they just try to eat all this stuff, and they don't listen. And pets can certainly sometimes put me over the edge. But I'm doing it for my dad though, because he really needs my help around here, so I'm doing it for him. Even though it can get frustrating when the dogs don't want to listen and stuff, and they just keep trying to eat stuff. Like they'll try to eat like mulch and sometimes like plants or something. And so, and I tell them to stop, and they like to run up by the driveway. So we got a path that goes from the driveway to the backyard, like a stone path. And sometimes Bandit and Baxter want to, run up, or they run not exactly on the path, but on the hill that kind of goes up there, by the path. They run on the grass usually, but the path doesn't. It's just a small little stone path, or you can walk on the grass, but we, put the stone path there for anyone who didn't want to walk on the grass to the backyard. But Bandit and Baxter, they like to run from the backyard up to the driveway. I mean, they have electric fence collars, but their electric fence collar can reach as far as like a certain point in the driveway, so that will allow them to go in a part of the driveway, but they can't go past a certain point in the driveway, so they don't run out into the road or anything like that. And when they run up there, it kind of drives me crazy because I feel like I have to constantly chase them up there and get them back down to where they need to be in the backyard, on the grass, doing their business. So that's one thing that, certainly can be very sometimes overwhelming and frustrating for me, especially when they don't listen. I guess what I'm going to say is being the oldest is hard, but, it's really not that bad. If sometimes you just have to take a moment to, kind of try to figure things out and, like you said, learn things at your own pace. And and you can always, I guess, ask for help if you need it. I guess there's nothing really wrong with asking for help. Sometimes, I feel I try to do things on my own, but sometimes I just need help. Even though being the oldest child with autism can be tough, I still I still think it's cool that I am the oldest one, out of all my siblings and all my cousins. Like, for some reason, being the oldest also makes me feel kind of special. And, that's what I like about being the oldest, is I feel kind of special, because I'm the oldest one, kind of a thing. For those on the spectrum that are watching, leave a comment down below if you are the oldest in your family. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.